Welcome to Untold Stories. Thank you for stopping by our channel, where we share the most gripping, heartfelt, and unexpected stories that life has to offer. If you enjoy compelling tales of love, heartbreak, mystery, and redemption, you're in the right place. We'd love for you to subscribe to our channel, so you never miss a story that might just keep you on the edge of your seat or tug at your heartstrings. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. We value every piece of feedback and love hearing from you. Your words keep this community alive and thriving. So sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in these unforgettable stories. Thank you for being a part of Untold Stories. Enjoy listening. The worst day of my life. I don't even know how to start this. I never imagined I'd be here, typing out the story of how my life fell apart in a single day. But maybe sharing this will help me make sense of it. Or maybe it'll just remind me that I'm not crazy for feeling the way I do. My name's Kyle, and just a little over a week ago, I was supposed to be a married man. I was supposed to start the next chapter of my life with the woman I thought I'd grow old with. But instead, I'm sitting here in my empty apartment, drinking way too much whiskey, and trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. It started the night before the wedding. My fiancée, Emma, had her bachelorette party, and I had my bachelor party. Pretty standard stuff, right? Her friends took her out to some bar downtown, and my buddies dragged me to a local pub for some drinks and laughs. We kept it pretty low-key. I didn't even stay out late because I wanted to wake up fresh for the big day. I remember texting Emma around midnight to tell her I loved her. She didn't reply, but I figured she was busy having fun. No big deal. I trusted her. I mean, we'd been together for 5 years. She was my best friend, the person I trusted more than anyone in the world. There wasn't a doubt in my mind about her. Fast forward to the wedding day. Everything was perfect, or at least it seemed like it. The venue was gorgeous, a little rustic barn that Emma had fallen in love with. Our families were there, friends from all over. Everyone was smiling, laughing, taking pictures. Emma looked stunning in her dress. When she walked down the aisle, I honestly felt like the luckiest guy in the world. The ceremony started, and everything was going smoothly. But then, during the vows, right after I finished mine, someone interrupted. A man stood up from the back of the room. He was wearing a suit, but I didn't recognize him. I thought maybe he was a distant cousin or something. But then he said, "I'm sorry, but I need to show you all something." The room went silent. Emma froze, her face going pale. I turned to look at her, and I'll never forget the way she was shaking, her eyes darting around like she was trapped. The guy walked to the front, holding a laptop. My heart was pounding, but I still didn't understand what was happening. I thought it was a joke or a prank, something stupid. But then he plugged the laptop into a projector, and a video started playing. I swear, time stopped. The video showed Emma at her bachelorette party. At first, it looked harmless. She was at a bar, laughing with her friends, taking shots. But then the camera angle changed, and suddenly, there she was, kissing some guy. Not just kissing. It was way worse. They were in some private room, and I don't even want to describe the rest. But it was all there. The touching, the moaning, the way she was completely wrapped up in this guy, like I didn't even exist. The room erupted. Gasps, whispers, people shifting uncomfortably in their seats. My mom was crying. Her dad looked like he wanted to crawl under a rock. And me? I just stood there, frozen, staring at the screen, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Emma started crying, trying to explain, but I couldn't hear her over the ringing in my ears. All I could think about was the fact that this was happening in front of everyone we knew. Every single person I cared about was watching my world fall apart in real time. The guy, turns out he was the one Emma cheated with, walked out right after the video ended. Just strolled out like he didn't have a care in the world. Emma was begging me to listen to her, saying it was a mistake, that she was drunk, that it didn't mean anything. But how do you come back from something like that? How do you stand in front of all your family and friends, your fiancé in tears, and pretend like everything's okay? I didn't. I walked out. I left her there, in her wedding dress, surrounded by the wreckage she caused. The days after were a blur. I moved out of our apartment, blocked her on everything, and tried to piece myself back together. I found out later that one of her friends had filmed the whole thing and sent it to the guy, who apparently decided to blow up her life because she ghosted him after the party. I don't know if I should thank him for showing me the truth or hate him for how he did it. Maybe both. I still don't know how to feel. Betrayed? Humiliated? Angry? All of the above? Part of me wonders if I'll ever be able to trust someone again. Another part wonders if I should have just married her and try to work through it. But no, I can't live like that, always wondering if I'm enough or if she's hiding something. So yeah, that's my story. The day I was supposed to marry the love of my life turned into the worst day of my life. And now, I'm just trying to figure out what comes next. The weeks turned into months, but the weight of it all didn't seem to lift. I thought time would dull the sharp edges, but every day felt like a new reminder of how my life had come crashing down. Every time I walked into my kitchen, I'd picture Emma standing there in her old hoodie, cooking her weird breakfast concoctions. Every time I saw a couple holding hands on the street, I'd feel a pang of jealousy, so deep it made me physically sick. The thing is, I don't think I was just mourning Emma. I was mourning the life I thought we were going to have. The future I'd been so sure of. The kids, the holidays, the stupid inside jokes we'd share when we were old and gray. It felt like I wasn't just losing her. I was losing a part of myself, too. But the world doesn't stop turning just because your life falls apart. I had to go back to work, face my coworkers who all knew what had happened. My best man, Trevor, had spilled the beans to a few people in our friend group, so by the time I showed up at the office, the rumor mill was in full swing. People were polite about it, but I could feel the pity radiating off them. It was suffocating. Then there was social media. Oh, God, social media. I'd blocked Emma on everything, but mutual friends kept posting pictures from the wedding. Well, the almost wedding. Smiling faces, pretty decorations, the venue looking like something out of a magazine. I couldn't escape it. Even my aunt, who barely knows how to use her phone, posted a throwback picture of me and Emma from the engagement party with some caption about better times. Better times? Yeah, sure. Before she destroyed my ability to trust anyone ever again. I think the lowest point came about 3 months after the wedding. I was in a grocery store, of all places, picking up some frozen dinners because I couldn't be bothered to cook anymore. I turned a corner, and there she was. Emma. She looked different. Smaller, somehow. Like she was carrying her own weight now, her own version of the hell we'd both been living in. For a second, we just stood there, staring at each other. Neither of us said a word. And then, she walked over. I felt my whole body tense up. I didn't want to hear whatever excuse she was about to give, but at the same time, I couldn't move. It was like my feet were glued to the floor. "Kyle," she said softly, her voice cracking. "I'm so sorry." It was the same apology she'd given a dozen times before, but for some reason, it hit me differently this time. Maybe it was the look in her eyes, red-rimmed, hollow, like she hadn't slept in weeks. Or maybe it was the way her hands were trembling, clutching her shopping basket like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "I know you don't want to hear this," she continued, "but I need you to know. I'll never forgive myself for what I did to you. Ever." I opened my mouth to respond, but nothing came out. What could I even say? That I hated her? That I missed her? That part of me still wanted to take her in my arms and pretend none of this had ever happened? I didn't know. So I just stood there, silent. She nodded, like she understood. And then she walked away. Just like that. No drama, no begging, no trying to justify what she did. It was the most honest moment we'd had since this whole nightmare started. After that, something shifted in me. I wouldn't say I forgave her, but I think I started to let go of some of the anger. Don't get me wrong, it still hurt. It probably always will. But I realized I couldn't keep carrying this bitterness around forever. It was eating me alive, and Emma? She wasn't the one suffering from it. I was. So, I started going to therapy, something I probably should have done a long time ago. Talking to someone about everything. About the betrayal, the shame, the fear of trusting anyone again. It helped. A lot. My therapist told me something that stuck with me. Forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. I've started going out more, reconnecting with friends I'd lost touch with while I was so wrapped up in Emma. I even went on a date, which felt weird and terrifying and kind of exciting all at once. It didn't go anywhere, but that's okay. The fact that I even tried feels like a step in the right direction. As for Emma, I don't know where she is now. Last I heard, she moved back to her hometown. I hope she's doing okay. I hope she's figuring out whatever it was that made her do what she did. Because as much as she hurt me, I don't want her to be miserable forever. That's not who I am. And me? I'm getting there. Slowly but surely, I'm picking up the pieces. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm starting to feel like it might not be so bad. Maybe there's still a chance for me to find something real, something that doesn't feel like it could crumble at any moment. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Not perfect, not whole, but better. And maybe that's enough for now. It's been a year now. A full year since the day I thought my life was over. It's strange how much can change in 12 months. Back then, I couldn't imagine ever feeling normal again, let alone happy. But here I am, sitting in a coffee shop, writing this out, and for the first time in a long time, I feel okay. Emma is a ghost of my past now, and honestly, that's how it needs to be. I haven't heard from her since that day in the grocery store, and I'm okay with that. I don't need closure from her anymore. I've learned that closure isn't something someone else gives you. It's something you give yourself. And I've done the work. Therapy has been a lifeline, and so has the support of my friends and family. They never gave up on me, even when I felt like giving up on myself. There's one thing I've realized about that day, though, the wedding day. For a long time, I saw it as the worst day of my life. But now, I'm starting to see it as the beginning of something else. It was a wake-up call, a painful but necessary reminder that sometimes, the people we think we know the best can surprise us in the worst ways. And that's not my fault. I didn't fail because Emma made the choices she did. That was on her, not me. And here's the kicker. I'm dating someone new. Her name's Rachel, and she's nothing like Emma. Where Emma was always a little chaotic, Rachel is calm and steady. Where Emma was the life of the party, Rachel is more about quiet nights and meaningful conversations. I don't know where this is going yet, but for the first time in forever, I feel hopeful. And you know what? That's enough for me right now. The thing is, life doesn't stop when your heart gets broken. It feels like it does, like the world is ending, but it doesn't. The sun keeps rising, the days keep coming, and eventually, you realize that you're still here, still breathing, still alive. And maybe, just maybe, you're stronger than you thought you were. So, to anyone reading this who's been through something similar, who's had their trust shattered or their world turned upside down, you'll get through it. It won't be easy, and it won't be fast, but you will. And when you do, you'll look back and realize that you're not the same person you were before. You're better, wiser, stronger. And maybe that's the silver lining in all of this. As for me, I'm looking forward to what comes next. Whatever it is, I'm ready. Because now I know that even when everything falls apart, you can still find a way to rebuild. And sometimes, the life you create after the storm is even better than the one you lost.